What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 4. We are in the Asia Division, where we're going to be casting a best of 2 between Invasion Esports and Kingdom here on the HeflaTV 2 Twitch channel. I'm Mike Loris, got Grandis also here. How are you doing, man? It's kind of early. Hopefully we'll be up for this.
Definitely. Well, hopefully the teams are going to keep us entertained, though we have a good series ahead of us. As far as who's actually playing on Kingdom, I have no idea. 2 of those names are familiar, and 3 of them are not.
It seems like they don't have their team name up or something like that. It has been a long time since I've casted, well, Join Dota League Asia, first of all, and then Kingdom secondary to that. It is going to be favored for Invasion, at least that's what people seem to think, and I would agree with them, just having the name recognition, first of all, also the fact that, well, they're just doing better in the league in general. It means that Kingdom have to work that much harder if they want to be come ahead in this game.
Yeah, this is definitely a fair way to start it out. However, after Brewmaster first pick, they'll snag up the Scarth Mage for themselves.
Alright, so it's a pretty nice opening. For both sides, Centaur Warrunner should be in consideration for the Kingdom side right now. Nothing too weird going on with the bans. We see a little bit of respect being paid towards the Elder Titan, and that is justifiable, I would say, at this stage in Dota, though I would also say Brewmaster is, in general, a little bit stronger. It is going to be that Centaur Scarth Mage opening, and that's pretty standard in response to a Brewmaster first pick.
Definitely is. I'm gonna have to get a drink. I'm coughing up a lung.
Okay, well, hopefully Grandis doesn't die. If he does, then, well, I guess it's going to be a solo cast, but for right now, it's going to be Brewmaster Ogre Magi as the opener for Invasion. You know, for the Centaur Warrunner Scarth Mage, that is mostly in response to the Brewmaster, as you could quickly silence him so he doesn't get his split, and then even if he does get his split, you stampede away. The Ogre Magi isn't really in response to anything that the Kingdom are packing just yet, nor does it synergize that well with the Brewmaster, quite honestly. I mean, having a stun into a clap is decent and everything, but it's certainly not going to be the best combination that you could possibly run. It's just going to be them picking up a strong support hero, and both sides have one of those right now. I guess we could say one support hero is being banned out in the Spirit Breaker. Ember Spirit also getting the boot along with Viper. As far as super powerful heroes still in the pool, there aren't many of those top tier ones, but that doesn't mean there aren't good picks. One support still needed for either side, and with the Scarth Mage you have a lot more flexibility with your support picks than if you have an Ogre Magi. And, well, Medusa is also going to be getting the ban out. It seems like Invasion are more scared about having this game end early with the Ember Spirit and Spirit Breaker bans out, whereas Kingdom, they're more scared about Invasion taking it late. So, I guess, on average, they are expecting to have about the same length of game, if you could say that's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, they both have about similar amounts of power in the early mid-game. Brewmaster, Centaur, Warrunner, I would say comparable. Brewmaster is a lot more of a burst fighter in that he is a lot more useful when he has a split than Centaur Warrunner is when he has a stampede, yet Brewmaster is generally a lot weaker when he doesn't have his split. So it's Invasion just working with that cycle, and Kingdom working with a pretty steady stream of power, so maybe they're going to want to go for a little bit more aggression. It is going to be the Shaker as the support pick for Kingdom, to take that support before Invasion have a chance to pick theirs. And that's usually what you want to do, make sure that you have the choice of your supports, and it's going to usually favor you. And it's also a hero that, well, to be fair, I guess Invasion weren't going to pick up, or was very unlikely to pick up. Shaker with Ogre Magi, dual melee, they have 2 stuns, both from range, which is fine, but generally it's something that you want to be avoiding.
Definitely, especially when you still have plenty of range supports left inside the pool. Fairly interested about that Spirit Breaker ban. Kind of makes me a little sad. I was always one to like watching a Spirit Breaker, and with the Centaur Warrunner, can be a pretty potent combination, but honestly it feels kind of like a non-ban.
Yeah, I think it kind of feels like that as well. It doesn't seem like there are many strategies that Spirit Breaker actually does well against. Maybe if you're going to be going for like super early pushing, like very early pushing, then getting rid of, I guess, pseudo initiation from the charge is worthwhile. You have to go for, you know, as early pushing as you possibly can, like Chen, Juggernaut, Jakiro, that type of pushing. And that's clearly not, or probably not going to happen from Invasion. It's still possible, I suppose, with the Jakiro pickup as their 3rd pick.
Yeah, Outside of that, I think he's really good against split pushes if he actually gets a lot of farm.
10
But
seconds
yeah,
remaining.
he kind of feels like I don't know, mediocre hero, but he does what he does pretty well. For Kingdom, it's going to be a Phantom Assassin for them. Currently, they don't have anything else to buff up the damage of the PA, but just in a vacuum, it's a decent carry.
Yeah, and it is a carry that can play early on. If she gets a okay early start, as long as the start isn't completely terrible, then Phantom Assassin will be able to put some decent pressure on Invasion. Though Invasion kind of tanky, with the exception of Vengeful Spirit, all three of the other heroes are known to take a punch or two, so Phantom Assassin's going to work that much harder for it. It is a little bit more mobility that Invasion have to worry about, though I think they have enough disables to not be too concerned. I think Kingdom are probably not going to go all in on the late game Phantom Assassin, at least it doesn't seem like that.
No, it definitely doesn't feel like it. It kind of feels like they picked this Phantom Assassin to more be like an early fighter to skirmish with just Scarth Mage and Earthshaker opening up in the early laning phase. And I don't know, usually when you have that late game Phantom Assassin, you'd like to have like a Venge Ogre or an IO backing it up. It's going to be a last pick Storm Spirit for Kingdom, a pretty peculiar one, but a good pick up against the Brewmaster, offering an Orchid Silence as well as just a way to pick him off. But Invasion, they're going to commit to a Broodmother. Very interesting draft coming up from them, all things said and done. Looks like they want to commit very early on in the push.
And the pushing is going to be pretty intense. There is a Shaker on the other end. There is maybe going to be Cleave down the line. Centaur is actually pretty decent at taking out the Broodmother, since if you want to go for the Centaur, you have to work through Hoof Stomps, you have to work through Double Edge. Things usually get pretty painful for the Broodmother in that regard. But Kingdom, I don't think have enough AoE to be really comfortable with where they are. Invasion, they are going to peak very, very early in this game. If this game gets to a late game stage, then Storm Spirit, Phantom Assassin are just going to be kings. Broodmother late usually feels like it's a decent idea, but it never actually performs as well as it should, really.
Yeah, I don't know. Broodmother
10
does what Broodmother does completely fine. Just sits in a lane, pushes down those towers, and forces some heroes to respond to that. But honestly, I think Kingdom have a great lineup of dealing with that Broodmother. As you've already said, just really great ways to catch her out while she's pushing. If you just get Dust on the Centaur and Storm Spirit, Broodmother is pretty much completely hosed. So honestly, I don't like this last pick. We'll have to see how it works.
And it looks like Broodmother is going to be going towards the bottom lane. I've been seeing all manner of Broodmother lately as teams are still trying to figure her out when, of course, she's not banned out. It's going to be FCFC taking up that hero. Over towards mid, it's going to be Wolf on the Brewmaster. ADTR is
That
going
is
to be...
Kesekimba?
Is it?
Yes. I just checked his Steam profile. Unless he's completely next level trolling us, it's Kesekimba.
Okay, so Ketchikimba is going to be on the Brewmaster then. The Ogre Magic played at ADTR. 343 is standing in as the VS. And Ghost is going to be on the Jakiro. Currently up towards top and probably maybe in a little trouble.
Looks like for now he's going to be just fine, and we'll have eyes on the Earthshaker. Earthshaker is going to be played by Yumo Kumpaku. Midas Spirit on the Scarth Mage. Nobody's using their official names, so we're just going to call it as it is. Babo on the Storm Spirit mid. Phantom Assassin played by Li Hongqi on the mid lane, and off lane it's going to be Fit Lion on the Centaur Warrunner. It would be nice if all of these players would just use their correct handles.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. They even have like the team up and everything, so I don't really know what's going on. Yeah, who knows? Who cares, really? I mean, Invasion have it up, and that's very nice of them to do so. And they have an Ogre Magi with Ignite level 1 and Boots level 1. Gotta love that. Together with Vengeful Spirit, they can put some serious hurt onto whoever they find. Mid lane PA, certainly not the safest hero, although it looks like they're going to fan out their illusions and maybe set their eyes towards top instead.
Yeah, the Ogre Magi illusion, it's pretty obvious that it is an Elu. It is going to spot out the Earthshakers, so they know that this ES is sitting behind the Phantom Assassin, so not a very attractive gang. But then again, Storm Spirit's looking pretty juicy up towards top. If he crosses like this line, he's completely hosed. They'll just stun him up and he's completely gone. We'll have to see.
Well, he got pretty close. He now is going to be spotted by the Vengeful Spirit. No support in range. Ignite is going to be thrown, but it's way too far. Liquid Fire is not going to do enough. They commit a little bit of mana here and there, drop the Storm Spirit down to half. Not completely worth it for them. As far as aggressive tri-lane potential, Ogre Magi, Vengeful Spirit, really good. Jakiro, okay, except not really. You really have to get into super elongated fights where your Liquid Fire can really stack up if you want him to be doing a lot of damage. He's not that bursty.
Yeah, and especially at early levels, that Liquid Fire does have quite a long cooldowns, so you're not actually able to get very many stacks of that off inside the team fight, per se. And a hero that relies fairly heavily on getting that experience, so yeah, it's kind of wonky when you put him into this tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario. Earthshaker probably just there to offer defensive fissures, and Scarth Mage probably isn't going to be accomplishing much of anything.
Well, at the very least, they're keeping the Storm Spirit back, trying to limit his CS, though limiting his experience, certainly not completely possible with these heroes. We'll return to that lane in a little bit. Over towards mid, Ketchikimba on the Brewmaster level 3 versus the Phantom Assassin level 2. It's not the worst lane for Phantom Assassin by any stretch, but the Brewmaster should have an edge here, even going for an early point in Drunken Haze. I bet he's probably going to wish he had Drunken Brawler right about now since he's getting into a fist fight with the PA, but it should be a Brewmaster favored lane. And over towards bottom, there's unfortunately a sentry on the floor for FZFC, so he's not going to be having the best of times. Though he does have a sentry of his own. Don't think he really wants to commit that, because Centaur will then commit his, and then you have this whole sentry race going, so it's a very awkward situation down bottom.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure exactly who that favors. I think Broodmother should be completely fine in this lane and probably even have a little bit of an edge.
Right, so I think Broodmother will be able to last it very comfortably, but it's certainly possible for FC to get into a situation where he feels a little bit too comfortable in this lane, and then he gets caught out with a hoof stomp and then just straight up dies. Up towards top, Midas Spirit is going to take quite a bit of damage, but the presence of the Earthshaker in a very good position is going to force Ghost back. In fact, Babo's putting a lot of damage into that Jakiro. Not as much as Midas Spirit actually took, but more brawling up towards top. The Earthshaker has thrown out one fissure, but man, that positioning was so threatening. If you get walled off there as anyone, you're just completely dead.
Yeah, for now, both teams are aggressively postured up top, and this should be where a kill happens, if at all, in the early minutes of this game. Outside of the top lane aggression, level 6 on the Brewmaster is our next opening for First Blood, potentially just solo onto the Phantom Assassin if PA gets a little too comfortable. But either way, it looks like Kingdom are defensively positioned enough. The lane equilibrium is safe to where they can get every once in a while a little bit of CS on the Storm Spirit, but still, as far as the raw numbers are concerned, Invasion are having a good time in these lanes. 11-8 in the Jakiro, a lot of experience being denied the way of the enemy team.
And that's pretty much was their plan going into this game. If you're going to be drafting an early game, peaking lineup with the core Jakiro, with the core Broodmother, then if you have a crappy early game start, then you're just completely hosed later on. So this is going to allow them to play their game. This is going to actually give them a fighting chance. And Kingdom, though they are technically behind right now, it's going to be in the mid-game fights that determine how well they're going to perform in this game in general against Invasion. A slightly better, slightly worse laning stage in this type of game is not going to be entirely relevant. We might see action towards mid. Ogre Magi has wandered over here. Of course, this is going to make Invasion's top lane a lot weaker, and I think Kingdom know exactly what's going on.
And even if they don't, Phantom Assassin's going for the bottom rune is a haste there. Killing off the Broodmother is not the easiest of kills, especially if Brood's able to run away, even without boots, at 442 movement speed inside the webs. So it looks like PA is just going to head back towards mid lane. As long as she stays on the right side of this lane, should be completely fine. On the left side, it does get a little bit sketchy.
And ADTR, though he does have boots, not fast enough to close in, stun, and also allow Ketchikimba to drop his payload as well. So Lee Honky is going to be pressured back a little bit, but with Stifling Dagger, you'll always be relatively fine. It's going to be Kompaku up towards top to get the pressure. He's going to get hit with the Wave, Fire Blast, Magic Missile, Ignite, all the fire spells in the game, and he's going to go down. ADTR is going to draw First Blood, and that's just a random Shaker being caught out of position by a couple of support heroes. That's quite a bit of damage, and Shaker, he's not that tanky.
No, he really isn't. Just wanted to look for that pull. It didn't really seem like he was looking at that spot on the map at all while that went down. And it's pretty logical that they are going to make that rotation because the Ogre was sitting mid, although I'm not sure they actually caught eyes onto him. I don't think he actually came off of that high ground over by the ward that Dire placed. So just unfortunate place for the Earthshaker to get caught out in. It might have been the Vengeful Spirit again, although this one should be more even a fight.
You really have to be scared of the Ogre Magi. He has so much sticking power. 343 has a lot, but it looks like Kompaku doesn't know that the Venge is here. At least he's not looking for her. Actually, no, they are looking for her, but that was pretty risky by 343, just hiding in that corner right there. Doesn't get punished, and he will be able to walk his way out of there and maybe wrap around for a little bit more aggression. Ogre Magi is pretty much prepared to fight at this stage. Level 3 is all you need as an Ogre, but 343 is pretty isolated from the rest of his team and has to be very careful here.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to see how this works out for him. It looks like Venge is going to secure the top room, while bottom is going to spawn for the Phantom Assassin. Going to be bounty for her and a regeneration for the Brewmaster if they so choose to save it for him, and indeed they will.
So Ketchik is going to grab that one, now level 7 on the Brewmaster. As you said, kill potential does open up, assuming the Phantom Assassin doesn't have a haste rune, in which case it's impossible. It looks like it's also a possibility that he's going to go towards top, and this rotation should have been spotted by the by the Kingdom Observer Ward. Yet, because they're not moving, it doesn't seem like that's the case. Babo is now in a lot of trouble, gets caught with a random ice path. Fissure's going to hold out ADTR for a little while, but not long enough. The Jakiro Dots is going to kill off the Storm Spirit. Now here comes the Brew at the same time. He lands a clap on a Mighty Spirit, big crit as well, almost killing him off. The Stampede wears off, and that will be a kill actually. Phase Boots now charging forward for Yomu. He will have a split option available to him, but I don't think he wants to take it. It's still going to be 2 kills going the way of Invasion, and maybe they didn't see the smoke up from these 2 supports, but they should have seen the Brewmaster going north with this Observe Ward, and they should have known that something was coming.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just another awkward situation for them. Stampede could have saved them in a different I don't know, scenario. Earthshaker does make it out there alive, but it's still 3-0 in the favor of Invasion, and now that they're at the tower, with level 3 into the Liquid Fire, it's going to be pretty easy tier 1 tower for them to take afterwards. This Storm Spirit just isn't getting very much at all out of the map. They are giving some room to the Phantom Assassin in mid, but honestly, I'm not sure that's a big issue for them. Instead, they set their eyes on FZFC down towards the bottom lane. It looks like the Broodmother is going to fall here. Stomped up, double edge, as well as the Dust. They'll pull him back in, and Storm Spirit secures that kill.
It's very easy to get a little bit complacent with your positioning, with how comfortable you are in lane as a Broodmother, because you're like, oh, I have invisibility. I'll be just fine no matter what, and sometimes it's not going to happen. She should have been checking the inventory of Centaur all the time to figure out if there was going to ever be some dust, and there in fact was. Catching Kimbo in the mid lane, he'll be chasing down the Phantom Assassin, trying to go for that tower push. He's going to run straight into 343, was praying for an invisibility rune or a haste rune or something, but instead it's going to be a DD snagged by Ketchikimba, and that's going to be a beatdown kill for the Brewmaster. Tower damage, pretty much inconsequential, so it's just going to be another clean kill for Invasion.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty good for them. Let's see if they're going to be able to barrel down the other lanes, and they probably should. With the Liquid Fire already level 3, it should be funny to take this tier 1 tower in the mid lane, especially since Brewmaster has his split available. On top of that, fighting into the Brewmaster at this point for Kingdom is really difficult. They just need more space on the Storm Spirit, currently without even the upgraded boots.
So they're pushing over mid lane with the double damage. The top lane is being pushed by a level 3 Liquid Fire. Definitely not the best skill, but certainly capable enough. FCFC is going to get charged once again down towards bottom. He's going to take a double edge straight to the face, unless there's no true sight. Yes, there is, but now Fit Lion's in a lot of trouble. He's ignited up, and he's going to burn. With the wave coming through, it will be Venge Spirit stealing that kill. Now looking towards Babo. He has Ball Lightning and 8 stick charges, he'll be just fine. So they get the kill on the Broodmother, but it's at the expense of a Centaur. And though they do defend their other lanes, I still think you could call that a win for Invasion, because they do get that return kill, and getting these supports experience is so much more important for Invasion than it is for Kingdom.
Yeah, they're forced to put a lot of hate into this Broodmother, but Brood is getting her experience as well as her farms. We are going to see a jump with the Brewmaster split. They found themselves Yuma, and Yuma is going to fall very easily. Let's see if they get the return kill. TPing into the tower. Yuma is surviving a lot longer than I thought he would. Now zipping forward onto Ghost. They'll pull him back as Babu focuses down the Jakiro on the backlines. The Earthshaker's up in the air, but with no way to purge him down. It looks like he has to give him a bit up more. They can chew with the Ancient Steel, amplifying the double edge. He's going to fall, and it looks like it's going to be a clean win for Kingdom as they clean up the Jakiro as well. What could have been an easy support pickoff turns into 2, given the way of the enemy team.
So I think Brewmaster just picked up his Blink Dagger, otherwise that wouldn't have made any sense at all. It was a very sneaky thing to do, splitting from outside of range and then just trying to charge forward. He had another boulder by the end of that, so he could have killed off the Earthshaker. But instead he got the Cyclone out, and that wasn't the right idea. Now FCFC is going to be in a little trouble down towards bot. Fitline gets stunned up, and Brewmother going to send her squadron over to Fitline, doing so much damage to the Centaur. ADTR is going to get a hoof stomp, but Spiderling's onto Fitline. It's going to be damage trading back and forth. This Yomu's going to be the ultimate loser. Ignited up now, and with Spiderlings on his tail, he will be going down. Now Midas Spirit, he's pretty fast, but I don't think he's fast enough to escape all of these Broodlings. With another injection, that's going to be a double kill for FC. Fitlion is able to escape from that, but because she has such a massive army here, it is going to be a lot of damage onto this bottom tier 2 tower, and no other heroes coming into this scenario for Invasion, with the exception of Brewmaster, who's in the area. If Kingdom want to defend this, they need a lot of heroes.
They definitely do. In the meantime, the Phantom Assassin gets a solo kill onto the Vengeful Spirit and then escapes. Much thanks to the regeneration rune she had in her bottle. Getsugemba does have the Blink Dagger, so Leonki needs to be a little bit careful. Looks like it's just going to be a straight up BKB rush for the Phantom Assassin. I think that's a solid choice this game around. It's still looking good for Invasion, but they are going to dive the tower behind. Leonki is going to be able to blink to creeps, but then again, she's completely zoned off of the tower, leaving Jakiro to pick up that last hit.
So it's 3 towers down in favor of Invasion, and that's pretty much going to be the game plan for them. But Centaur has a Blink Dagger, and FCFC is going to realize it until no dust, so he's going to be just fine. Chain Stun onto Yomu now as they turn around with Spiderling Injection, going to be a kill on the Shaker. But at the same time, they actually pick off the Brewmaster with a zip-in from the Storm Spirit. Trade, once again, this time not going to be going in Invasion's favor. They can make these turnarounds onto the softer heroes, but Brewmaster getting picked off like that, probably the worst possible hero to lose on Invasion, with the exception of maybe Jakiro.
Yeah, fairly interesting. Looks like Bobo is actually going to decide to not go for the Orchid. Killing off the Brewmaster inside one pull is pretty difficult, but I do suppose they have the Centaur to blink Hoof Stomp and Double Edge to follow up, and an Ancient Seal from the Scarlet Mage. So controlling him isn't that tall of an order, so it looks like he's just going to focus more on his survivability. Actually, no, that's the PA's Ogre Club. Storm Spirit's just Dork Core.
He wasn't getting that much farm over on the top lane. Getting a little bit more with 3 kills now, but he definitely would like to have about as many last hits as the Broodmother is. 1,500 behind her. And who knows, that could have been a little bit closer to his Orchid if he does want to go for it. He's going to jump in for said Brood. Going to pull her back into tower range, but there is Ogre Magi and Vengeful Spirit support here. The swap out is going to keep FC safe, but I think a whole bunch of Spiderlings just died there. And those things actually give a deceptively high amount of gold. So Invasion, though they're getting a lot of pushing going on this bottom lane, they have to be careful about overextending with their summons.
Definitely. That is your completed Orchid, however, on the Broodmother, deciding to completely rush it and not go for boots, which is definitely something you can do on Broodmother, especially with these new webs. 501 movement speed is more than enough to scuttle around. Even though, if you get spotted, you're probably going to die. You'd probably die anyway as a Broodmother. Right now, they're completely postured to this tier 2 tower, and they're going to take it. No defense is even attempted by Kingdom. They're all up towards top, looking for I'm not exactly sure what.
Well, in the meantime, it's going to be mid. Invasion looking for a kill onto Yomu, though that's not going to happen. Fissure's going to keep him perfectly fine, and Vengeful Spirit getting pretty messed up by that tower. This Broodmother now is going to be doing full-on Broodmother things, just pushing the bottom lane non-stop, while the rest of the team is going to try to take a mid tier 2. They have now maxed out Liquid Fire with a mech to back everything up. They still have that split available from the Brewmaster, so this is going to be Invasion's game plan. Go for the rest of these towers. Babo, though, is being stalked by Broodmother. Is going to get silenced, takes a lot of magic damage as well, dodges a Fissure FC, but now Kompaku's completely surrounded. There's no Fire Blast, Ignite only. It does do more damage over time, but no, it doesn't matter because they're going to kill him off in a hurry anyway. 2-man stun is going to hold ADTR and Ketchigimba out, but it's not going to be enough to save Midas Spirit. Being chased down by the Broodmother will be brought down. Another kill for FZ. And that's going to be 2 kills for 1. As I think the Phantom Assassin once again assassinates the Venge. Yes, she does in the back line. With a double damage rune, things get pretty easy there. But it's going to be another tier 2 tower that they lose.
Yeah, right now Kingdom, the map is just kind of crumbling around them. Even though they're trading decently when it comes to the kills, they're still not coming ahead, and the advantage is towards Invasion. But then again, Invasion need to keep up this pressure, because if they let off even a little bit, that's going to be Kingdom's chance to come back in this game, where they can look for pickoffs with the Storm Centaur and Phantom Assassin all jumping onto a single target. It's pretty darn easy for them to accomplish that. So far, the Brood play has been pretty good coming out from FZFZ, but the towers that he can actually take are very limited, and now he just needs to be very careful for things like this. Jumping from the Storm Spirit, he's just going to mop up a handful, more than a handful actually, of those Spiderlings. That was at least 6.
That's some pretty easy gold for Babo, but at the same time, if you look at Invasion's web coverage, I guess that's the thing that we have to address nowadays, it's pretty darn aggressive. Like, there are webs covering the entirety of the bottom and mid lane, at least where the Broodmother wants to be. There should be a lot of sentries and a lot of detection now picked up by Kingdom. Current check, there's 1 set of dust, and I don't think that's quite good enough when you're dealing with FC. He's going to be constantly applying pressure to not 1 but 2 lanes right now, and he's going to force Babo straight to TP. He will survive this, but FC is just showing that, hey, if you want to actually defend against my pushing, you need more than just 1 hero, because he's going to kill that single hero, and this is going to buy a whole lot of space for Invasion. It seems like they're going to use that space to smoke up and possibly lay the Broodmother out as bait, and it seems like that's working.
Yeah, right now, everybody else on Kingdom are poised to strike. It looks like we're going to have smoke popping onto smoke. Ogre walks up the high ground, multicast up fit line, Ice Path onto 3. Dual Breath to follow up, they get the Stampede out of there, and everybody's dropping too low. Echo Slam onto 2. Obliterates the poor Ogre Magi, now jumping into the Jakiro. Looking for it's going to make that a lot harder as the Brewmaster does get his split off, focused down the center. They'll be able to kill him off first as Lee Hong Ki is being focused down by all of those Broodlings on the backlines. They will be able to clean up that Scarth Mage as the Broodmother is going to town on the supports. Earthshaker makes it away, but the Broodlings are still chasing him outside of the webs. They won't be able to kill him off. Now Ice Path onto Bobo, completely tapped out mana, Magic Missile, Orchid to follow it up. It's going to be a 1-for-4 trade, heavily favoring Invasion.
So it's early here for us, but it shouldn't be early there for Kingdom. They knew that was coming. They had their smoke dispelled from the back. They saw the Ogre. They had more than enough time to blink Hoof Stomp or just Hoof Stomp because the heroes are close enough to each other. Yet instead, Ogre gets the first stun off, and then it sets up for a beautiful Ice Path from Ghost, and then Broodmother coming out from the side with like a dozen Spiderlings, something like that. Brewmaster split as well. Though they did get the kill on the Ogre in the very beginning, that was only a one-man Echo Slam in order to secure the kill, and Kingdom, they get initiated upon hard, even though they saw everything coming. And that is just so weird to see.
Yeah, it really is, especially considering their heroes. Positional advantage for, like, Storm Centaur is pretty much everything, but it didn't work out for them. Invasion are going to have an opening to go for Roshan with Liquid Fire, and potentially Dual Breath if they want to spend it, slowing down the attack speed of Roche, as well as the Midas Armor for 3/4/3, and Drunken Haze to boot, just to make sure that it's that much easier to take it. They'll be able to smack it down, even though they don't have the scariest of right-clicking heroes.
So now it's a double life for the Invasion side. They have still a tier 2 tower to take up on the top lane, but FZ is making sure that the bottom lane and mid lane are remaining pretty clear for Invasion, so if they want to jump anyone, they have the option to do so. I think it should be a top tier 2 where they set their sights. It'll be a little bit further away from their Broodmother, but I think they're strong enough at this point to take a decent fight even without that, especially if they get that fit line right here. He's going to Stampede out, but no Stampede available means that split from the Broodmaster gets a lot better. However, they do lose their Broodmother over towards mid. So many BM heroes. My god, it's going to be difficult. Brewmaster is going to be jumped once again. Mystic Flare and a double edge is going to take out the Aegis. He has a blink out, but I don't think you can blink out from that static remnant. No, you can't. And Ketchikimbo is going to be going down. Bobo chasing forward for 343. With a little bit more ball lightning. It looks like the Venture Spirit will get caught, pulled back. Here comes the cavalry, but it might be a little bit too late. 343 still in a lot of trouble. Macropyre onto Bobo doing a hell of a lot of damage to the Storm Spirit, and he will be brought down. But at the same time, ADTR being chased down by this Phantom Assassin with the BKB. He has no hope, and he's going to be going down as well. That's a 4-for-1 so far in favor of Kingdom. They are going to get their PA thrown up into the air, but there's no follow-up to this one. So Invasion just getting caught and then getting caught again, basically getting 1v5'd pretty much 4 times.
More or less, yeah. FCFC starting that off with the pick off onto the Brood, then everybody else trying to escape. It was a very scattered, awkward engagement for Invasion to take, and yeah, that's exactly what Kingdom want to be taking. Are these kind of spread out, focus down one hero, move to the next type of engagements. Even though they lose their Storm, it's still good for them. Although Storm is still looking very sad when it comes to net worth. Offlane Centaur getting a Blink Dagger this time is completely acceptable. I'll have a Force Staff soon enough, but Storm Spirit really needs more than just treads Ogre Club Soul Ring.
Centaur is pretty much on the point for himself, but because Storm Spirit is so poor, the Centaur really needs more in order to like pick up that slack. The Phantom Assassin is doing probably the most work out of Kingdom, especially with the BKB now. Lee Hong Ki is going to be able to jump in very, very safely and do pretty much whatever she wants, and so far what she has been wanting to do is just assassinate supports, and that has been working out very well for her. So if she can keep that up, then a steady stream of gold is going to mean additional item, and unless Invasion pick up something like a Heaven's Halberd, it's just going to be a matter of time before she's just going to annihilate everyone. They're going to get another pick off on this Broodmother, once again just pushing way too aggressively by herself, and is going to be punished yet again.
Yeah. There was no Echo Slam needed for that one. If there is at any one point such a big Broodling army, and there's an Echo Slam involved on like those 10 Spiderlings in the Broodmother is probably not going to survive unless we have a BKB coming out, which looks like it's going to be the next item of choice, but honestly won't be fast enough, I'm not sure. Phantom Assassin down towards bottom is being stalked by the Jakiro and company. But if Phantom Assassin is paying attention, the blur has deactivated and they ping out the Jakiro. They hoof stomp him up, will double edge down the Jakiro. There's a split from the Brewmaster, but what can it accomplish with the BKBs on the Phantom Assassin? Throws the Storm up in the air, but that's about all that he can do. He needs to book it with his other two spirits. Earth Spirit is Magic Beam, which will help a little bit. Boulder tosses up the Phantom Assassin, trying to run away, but this is exactly where he's going to respawn. Looking for the hoof stomp, they aren't going to be able to connect, and he's able to blink away a little bit further, and it looks like Keskima is going to survive.
So Invasion's push has pretty much stopped by now. It's pretty much this time where they want to be looking to end the game with this type of lineup. They can go a little bit later with the Broodmother and a Brewmaster, but really it is this time where they would feel very comfortable taking a set of Raxes. They have to be starting to push high ground with the power of the Broodmother, else she will slowly start to fall off, especially getting picked off so often. It's very clear that FCFC is certainly not able to duke it out 1v3 or anything like that. He's not powerful enough for that. And also, the Jakiro is going to start to fall off as well. Also, Phantom Assassin is getting a hell of a lot of gold. So, Kingdom, they have maybe weathered the worst of Invasion's push. It's certainly not them being in the clear completely just yet, as a single pickoff can open the gates for, just disaster. But now with Blink Dagger and Earthshaker, and their defense is going to be so much easier. Lee Honky up on top lane is going to have his BKB forced. That's an 8-second, I believe. Yes, it is. So, not too terrible there for Invasion. They're going to try to take a tower thereafter. They might be able to get it, but Invasion, or Kingdom, well, maybe they're not going to be able to get it. It's denied.
Yeah. I think the Blink Dagger and the Earthshaker is probably the most important item in the game right now, and Earthshaker hasn't shown that off to anybody. If Invasion decide to go high ground with these Spiderlings, we could be in for the dunk of a lifetime.
Alright, so Dota Cinema, prep your records because Kompaku's thinking about going in. He has his Blink Dagger still hidden, but look at all these units here. If anyone gets close, they're just going to die, or Storm Spirit can plow through them and go for Ghost immediately. There's the Echo Slam onto 2. ADCR is going to get locked down and brought down. 343, trying to stick up. Nice Ice Path onto a whole bunch of them. Clap from the Brewmaster and Split as well. Baba taking a hell of a lot of damage, but he will be just fine. The Phantom Assassin, because she used her BKB earlier, was unable to sit in that Macro Pyre comfortably. And Kingdom, it's going to be a 2-for-2 where they're going to be chased down a little bit more. FZ is going to pop his Insatiable Hunger. Now towards Kompaku they go. The damage probably isn't going to be enough. Ketchum will get return to his main form, but he doesn't have enough mana for anything. Although, no, he's going to jump to Midas Spirit and take that kill instead. That's a 3-for-2. And I think that pretty much all went that well because they forced out the BKB from the Phantom Assassin beforehand.
Yeah, more or less, it was a decent jump by Kingdom. You start out with the Storm Spirit, you focus down a handful of the supports, and the Earthshaker Echo Slam, although it wasn't Dota Cinema worthy, it was still a pretty solid one, especially based on the positioning of Invasion. You catch about half of the creep army, and 3 of the heroes, at least in the damage range. So Kingdom, they're holding on to high ground, even though they take a less than favorable engagement. When they have the BKB on the Phantom Assassin, fighting into Invasion is going to be a lot easier, but fighting without it is almost impossible. Broodmother now with the BKB, it's going to be a lot harder for them to pick off, and you also have the Aghanim Scepter on the Brew.
And I think the real MVP there was Ghost just, getting all of his skills out, and he did a hell of a lot of damage with that Macro Pyre. It is kind of the unsung skill from Jakiro because it's always like, oh, well, it does a lot of damage if you get some people to stay in it. And usually it's pretty easy to get out of that Macro Pyre, but in such a clustered and chaotic team fight, Macro Pyre sometimes just goes unnoticed, and if you sit in there for a little bit too long, you're going to roast, and there's no two ways about it. You're going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage. It definitely pales in comparison to the consistency of Liquid Fire, but if you somehow manage to land a Macro Pyre like that every single fight, it's not even going to be close. Invasion are going to sweep every single fight, but of course that is damn near impossible. They've taken the Tier 2 tower, or the Tier 2 tower is now down rather, and they should be once again looking for high ground. There is an Echo Slam in 30, but Invasion, they're going to go, I think, before that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. For now, the Broodmother is farming up the jungle and has a very large army of Spiderlings. They're going to prime themselves for a mid push, but this is delaying time where Kingdom are going to have that Echo Slam available for it. So yeah, I'm always hoping for a huge Echo Slam onto these Broodmother and the minions, if for nothing else because I love watching Echo Slams go off, but we'll have to see how this goes down. Brewmaster currently on the front lines, smacking away at the tower without a fear in the world. With no Orchid on the Storm Spirit, with the Aghanim Scepter, he's a lot easier to get off that split. Swap from Vengeful Spirit's going to keep himself safe. Ice Path lands onto Yuma, as well as onto Babu. They are going to pop the BKB on the PA, as well as the Storm Spirit, focusing down the Venge first. There's a Mixed Flare onto the backlines. They bring down Kesekin before he gets off his ultimate, it, but the Earthshaker Echo Slam is more or less a complete flub, only landing onto the BKB Broodmother, now eating into Babo. Babo's down, and now they look for a little bit more. The Skywrath Mage tagged by one attack of the Broodmother. It is going to be dropping him very low, but instead decides to go for the Centaur. Centaur dies to a Fire Blast of the Ogre, but FCFC loses his life as well. It's a 4-for-2 trade as ADTR looks for the TP out. He'll be able to succeed. No Basher or way to cancel that. No Earthshaker Fissure available.
And that fight was made possible by the Centaur War Runner. The jump in from the Storm Spirit was very nice at forcing out the initial defensive skills from Invasion. There was a swap, there was an Ice Path, all of those tools. And in that regard, Storm Spirit, though he did end up going down, he did his job because he set up for Centaur's 3-man Hoof Stomp with the Skywrath Mage ultimate on top of the Brewmaster. And that brought him down before he had anywhere close to a split. The Silence also helping out a lot as well. So between the Centaur and the Skywrath Mage, they annihilated the Brewmaster before he got a split. And without that split, most of Invasion's fighting potential is gone. Like, they are down 2 of their disables in the Cyclone and the Boulder Toss. They don't have those nigh unkillable Brewlings. Kingdom take a massive fight right there. They defend their high ground. Though their tower is not too healthy, it's still healthy enough to keep alive. And also Kingdom, they got another item on the Phantom Assassin. It's going to be a Demon Edge item for her. She's starting to get to that point where if Invasion don't instantly kill her off, they won't be able to kill her off. That happens once she finishes this damage item and once she picks up Lifesteal.
Yeah, and even if she doesn't pick up Lifesteal, if one of the supports can somehow find the gold for Vladimir's offering, could be a really important item for them. They have the gem on the Earthshaker, 1200 gold on him, and Skywrath Mage sitting on to 1900. I think it's a 4-staff for Sky, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Earthshaker go for that Vlads.
Yeah, I think those items would give them so much cheap value right now, and because their heroes are, for the most part, working on a pretty decent budget, or a pretty poor budget, rather, they are going to want to pick up as many of those cheap, cost-effective items as possible. And in this game, you probably won't find an item more cost-effective than that Vlad's. They're going to smoke up, and they're going to be running straight into FC. Poor Broodmother. I mean, you don't expect this to happen. Like, suddenly a million heroes. They're going to whip the Echo Slam, however. They don't blink Hoof Stomp. And FC might actually be fine. To the BKB, she goes, but it's purely defensive right now. The rest of the team is incoming. Ice Path going to connect all into Babo. As another Hoof Stomp is going to land onto 2. Lihonki is going to dive right in, but the swap out is there. 343, though, is going to be the casualty of war first, as Yomu's going to take a lot of damage as well from the Brewmaster. Finally got his ultimate off. Onto ADR they go with Babo and the Mystic Flare damage. They will be able to bring down the Ogre Magi. Lihonki's still alive, however. Going to chase after Ghost. Fitline going to mess up his Hoof Stomp, but he won't mess up Double Edge. We'll get that kill. Now Brewmaster, the only one alive, has a Blink Dagger out, and he will blink out from under that dagger. But it's still going to be Kingdom taking a 1-for-4 trade. That was, should have been a little bit, I mean, that's actually, never mind, just par for the course. Like, Lihonki is getting to that point.
Yeah, he really is. And Broodmother, if there was a TP there, it was on cooldown, I believe, for 14 seconds when he popped a BKB. Would have been able to make it out there cleanly, but they tried to take the engagement after the fact. And right now, fighting into Kingdom is really difficult for Invasion. I don't know, there's just not a clean way for them to do it when the Black King bars are popped by the PA and the Storm Spirit. They are starting to wear down 8 seconds on the Storm and down to 5 for Lihonki, but now we have an Aegis coming out, presumably for the Phantom Assassin, even though usually I'd give it to the Storm. Babo, with just the BKB, I think is less important, this game in particular.
Phantom Assassin will have Aegis. She'll have close to a Helmet Dominator if she wants to buy it up, and as she already has that Morbid Mask, so a huge win. And no, Babo is actually going to be picking up that Aegis. As far as Aegis carriers, Storm Spirit one of the best. You could drain your entire mana pool and then pop right back up with another mana pool, and that's pretty darn sweet. And Phantom Assassin, she is in danger of dying a little bit more now that her BKB is down at 5 seconds, but she's just doing so much damage. She's going to take 1, probably even 2 heroes down with her if she does get jumped, so it's certainly a reasonable Aegis, I think, onto the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, usually it's the hero you give it to, even if you have a farmed carry on your team. But yeah, I would have been okay with them giving it to the Phantom Assassin, but I suppose with the way that they're starting out these fights, jumping in with the Storm Spirit first, looking to pull out those defensive spells, he's okay dying, and then coming back with a full mana pool and health pool for his Storm Spirit is exactly what the Doctor ordered. He'll be able to do quite a bit with that, so it just depends on how they want to go about jumping into these fights. So I think that pretty much tells the plan for this next team fight. When they're looking to push down some of these towers, Tier 1 tower up towards top is a pretty easy mark for them to take, but honestly, probably the least important tower on the map, or very close to it. So Tier 2 tower in mid looks to be more likely. Maybe
Or
on
they're-
bottom.
Or they're just going to go down to the bottom lane and look for blood. Kingdom at this point have definitely weathered the storm of Invasion. 30 minutes in, and Invasion have yet to take Raxes with this type of lineup. They're going to be really, really struggling since now Kingdom, they're on the hunt. They're not going to be bottled up in their base anymore. They have a lot of initiation range with the Storm Spirit, as well as the Blinking Centaur, as well as the Blinking Earthshaker Fissure. They're going to try to go for this bottom lane and catch Akimba. He's going to be on the front lines. Has a Vlad's now, so he's a little bit tankier. The rest of the team is a lot tankier. Although, I don't think it's going to be enough to save this tower. The Broodmother split push is going to be annoying for Kingdom, so that means they can't go for any more. But this tower is going to die one way or another.
Yeah, it is. FCFC is doing as much as he can, and that's pretty scary. The tier 3 tower is probably going to fall up towards top, unless they bring back somebody immediately, and that's going to be the Centaur. So just Hoof Stomp Double Edge would mop up those Spiderites and Spiderlings. So it looks like Broodmother is going to decide to not throw those up against the tower.
Alright, so we take a tier 2 tower. Kingdom is going to be pretty happy about that, and they're not going to lose anything in return. Invasion, they need to make something happen. They need to take it on a pretty large teamfight scale. That has to start off on good initiation terms onto the Phantom Assassin. That's very, very specific, but at this point I think it's all that they could possibly hope for. They have a lot of Spiderlings up towards top lane, and their health pool is forming a nice little circle there. Lee Honky being stalked by those spiders, but there is no support anywhere here for the Broodmother, and she has to be very careful because Storm Spirit has a gem, and Invasion do know that, but Broodmother just has to be so cautious in where she goes, since if you are spotted at all, Storm Spirit can zip away, zip towards you, you know, from halfway across the map, and then you're just dead.
Yeah, right now Broodmother is playing a pretty dangerous game, but looks like FCFC is going to be fine, at least for now. Although Kingdom have plenty of heroes that are stalking the Broodmother, it is going to give a little bit of room down towards bottom and mid, where Invasion are able to pick up some farm, even though it is dangerous without clear vision on the map of most of the heroes coming out from Kingdom.
Well, FC, he's being chased right now, but no, just a rotation from Kingdom, everyone onto the top lane. They have the MKB completed on the Phantom Assassin, and they will go for that tier 1 tower that you were mentioning before. This is not something that Invasion should be defending. It seems kind of stupid to do so, since there's no point keeping this tower alive, but the Phantom Assassin with the MKB is not going to have to deal with the evasion for the Brewmaster any longer, so no Drunken Haze is going to be relevant, and the Incapacitating Bite is also not going to be doing anything either. So Lee Honky is going to be doing guaranteed damage, and it's going to be a lot. They're going to jump in. However, Babo caught with the Ice Path. As soon as he jumps in, into the BKB he goes. Still has the Aegis. He's going to charge forward for 343, and with help of Fit Line, they will be able to take out the bench first. Lee Honky getting into a duel with FC. He's going to change his mind instead, go for Ghost. I think this is a better target for the PA. However, she will peel away from both of them. Storm Spirit's still alive. It's only the Vengeful Spirit to drop, but Lee Honky is going to be dropped as well. Brewmaster doing so much damage, and now the Ice Path Macropyre onto the Earthshaker is going to bring him down. Storm Spirit once again up into the air. Fit Line is going to land a nice stomp onto ADTR, but it won't be enough to actually kill him off. Now it's going to be Fit Line turned around upon. He's going to be going down. Aegis on the Storm Spirit's going to return him into this fight, but he has to use all of his mana to get away. Invasion take a massive fight. Somehow they make it work.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like Kingdom, their focus was very spread out, and they were looking to just bite off a little bit too much more than they really could feasibly do. The Phantom Assassin played like she had the Aegis, and Storm Spirit kind of played like he didn't. Just going for those small supports instead of going for the main fight. Killing the Vengeful Spirit's the easiest target, and probably the best one to go for, especially since they knew the positioning of the Venge. But either way, Kingdom, I don't know, just end up losing quite a bit out of that engagement. Phantom Assassin is down for 20 seconds, and although that's probably not going to be full lane of barracks going the way of Invasion, since the tier 3 tower is already so low, it is probably going to fall.
Yeah, I think it was a problem of targeting. I think it was also a problem of sequencing their spells. FC is going to get hit with a concussive shot. All of his Spiderlings so close to death, but with web and mech regeneration, they'll be back up soon enough. They used their Stampede very early on in order to get into that fight, so that was an ultimate tool that wasn't really used to the best effect. And Storm Spirit, he's gonna be fine. Lee Honky also, as you said, kind of splitting his focus between a whole bunch of heroes, and none of those heroes were actually heroes that the Phantom Assassin should have been focusing. If she was right on top of the like Broodmother from the beginning and was able to bring her down with a couple of crits, then who knows, maybe that fight could have been a little bit differently. But deciding to switch her focus, and the rest of the team also constantly switching their focus, meant that Invasion get a lot more value out of their HP pools, and they end up taking a decent fight. They don't take anything following that fight, however. So, you know, even though it's very nice for them to have one fight under their belt, it's still not going to amount for too much.
Yeah. Alright. In the end, the tier 3 tower up towards top actually doesn't fall, as they just don't get close enough to it. Broodmother does have quite a spiderling army, but as we've already seen, like, the spiderling army doesn't survive very long, and if it does, you have an Echo Slam to deal with, and that's probably even worse. Stormstream is zipping around looking for the Broodmother, doesn't find anything. Will look even further, finds himself a handful of spiderlings, and that's actually a lot of gold, given the way of the enemy team. That's like 12 CS, even though they're not very much individually. When you collect all of them, it's quite a bit.
It's like 150 gold or something like that they didn't have to spend that much for, so I'd be fine with the free 150 gold. Sounds pretty good to me, and for Babo it's going to be pretty nice. The Shaker jacked a couple of those as well. Shaker with a Force Staff and a Blink Dagger now. He pretty much has everything that he could possibly want. Babo still only has Bloodstone and BKB. The Storm Spirit's still kind of reeling from that poor early game start, but as the game progresses, he's going to get more and more threatening items. For now, it's just survivability, so he's, for the most part, ignorable by Invasion. But it will get to the case where you have to pay attention to that Storm Spirit. So Kingdom getting some pretty decent items, whereas Invasion, they're going to be smoking up and looking for someone. They know that they're not spotted at all, but who can they actually kill right now? The only targets are in mid lane, and I don't know if they want to jump onto the Storm Spirit like that. Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, they don't have a instant way to jump onto him with the silence, and even if they do, BKB is going to keep Babo pretty safe. They need some sort of hard disable. A blink on the Ogre might make that feasible, but even then, it's incredibly risky with the amount of HP that Babo's rocking. Currently, he's sitting at 2,000. It looks like Kingdom are going for a smoke of their own. We'll have to see how this goes down. For now, they're going to draw lines into the enemy woods and might get a full wraparound onto Invasion if Invasion aren't careful, and that could be disastrous.
Oh, Ketchik. He might be blowing smoke right now. In fact, he'll blow it all at the same time, so they know exactly where he is. He's going to get annihilated. That's just so unfortunate. Like, there's no way that Kingdom or that Invasion could have known that that was coming. But Brewmaster, the worst hero to lose in that situation, and man, he didn't stand a chance.
Absolutely not. Dropped in, I don't know, mere seconds flat. All he wanted was to use his Midas and to get a little bit of extra farm, but that just wasn't in the cards for him. We have an Assault Cuirass on Broodmother, so the auras are all up for Invasion, but I don't know, it just feels so iffy for them if they're actually able to pull this through. Even though they have a lot of net worth in theory on their cores, Brewmaster, although BKB and Aghanim's is going to make his ultimate reliable and pretty darn strong at 37-38 minutes up against 2 BKBs on the cores of Kingdom, it just doesn't really feel like it does very much. Magic Missile lands at Lee Hunky in mid, dropped to about half HP. Venom Assassin might be forced to pull out here, but does have some lifesteal in the form of just that casual Morbid Mask.
Man, that was a lot of magic damage from Invasion, getting a multicast and then following up with the maxed out Dual Breath. The Venom Assassin certainly has to be careful in getting picked off. She is vulnerable to that magic damage. Blair's not going to help her in that regard. So Lee Hunky, as long as he's prepared for those small skirmishes, he's going to be more than happy to actually pop his BKB for those as well, so it shouldn't be a problem moving forward as long as he doesn't get caught off guard. But Spiderlings, oh no, this is actually really bad. What is that, like 12, let's say a dozen Spiderlings at the very least, each giving like what, 15 gold average a piece. Once again, it's a lot of money for Yomu as well as Babo. That Broodmother cannot afford to be doing this, not anymore.
Yeah, that's effectively like feeding away a free Necronomicon pair every time that happens, and it's happened at least 3 times, which just isn't very acceptable. Phantom Assassin now with an Aegis, as Kingdom are able to take that with very little interruption. They'll jump in mid, they found themselves Kesekimba. They aren't locking him down fast enough, but with the Echo Slam commit and the Mystic Flare, he's almost going to die. He will in the end, even after the defensive swap. Ghost double edged down by the center, locked into place, will Force Staff the center, but that hardly helps him at all. Fitline ticking low to the Dual Breath is going to survive at about 100 HP, making it back to base, as Storm Spirit's going to mop up the creep wave that Broodmother has been shoving in. Nothing but wins for Kingdom.
And as long as Broodmother doesn't take any structures, Kingdom might even get a little bit more. They're going to leave the Phantom Assassin here all by herself. I don't know why absolutely everyone decided to leave her, but really with only 2 heroes alive, even if Invasion get a 4x multicast to start things off, even if Ogre picks up an Aghanim Scepter out of nowhere, Lee Hunky is going to be running this lane. So Invasion, they need more heroes right now. Kingdom, I guess they're just playing this very cautiously and falling everyone back. To head cheese, they have Aegis still, so they could have just gone for this tower, and it probably would be dead by now if they fully committed. But I think this tower is going to be going down anyway. Lee Hunky just does way too much damage, and Invasion, they get cleaned up once again, locking down the Brewmaster before he can get anything off, and ADTR has to be so careful. He's going to get not walled off, actually. He gets the Fire Blast out first, and it looks like he will be just fine.
Storm Spirit has Boots of Travel, and that means that he is going to be the bane of Broodmother's existence. He's able to farm inside that lane. He just killed off another 20 or so Spiderlings in one combination. I'm sure the sound of gold plinking into his pockets was incredibly satisfying, because Babo, even though his early game CS didn't look too well, after cleaning up 3 to 4 Broodling armies, currently sitting at 269, 270 now.
And most of that is probably Broodlings. Like, he's been getting a lot of CS as well. I'm not going to try to undersell him, but now he's going to collect even more. He sees FCFC. He doesn't do anything, yet he forces out the TP. And look at all this gold just sitting here. The gold is trying to run away, Babo. Go and catch the gold. The gold is hiding right now, but man, this is just so much cash. Oh my god, that's like another 100 for Yomu. This is disgusting how much gold Kingdom are just getting thrown for free. And for Invasion, they might not like realize that they're doing this, because Brewlings, they're expendable, but they're expendable in the case that you're okay losing them in certain situations.
Yeah, they are. And those situations are when you're actually able to put pressure on the enemy team, but where you're keeping the lanes moderately pushed out, and then the enemy team's just able to farm up the lane, end your Broodlings, it's actually really bad. Invasion's lineup, it just doesn't feel like it's equipped to take it this late into the game. Storm Spirit's completely caught up with the cores coming up from Invasion, a little bit behind the Brewmaster, but honestly, I'm not sure how much that matters, especially once he completes up this site, which is only about 400 gold away. A little bit less than that now.
Well, Fitlion's being stalked in the jungle. He's going to take an Ignite that he could have dodged with his Blink, but he will be just fine. At this point, I'm pretty sure Broodmother probably has fed more gold to the enemy than she has actually accrued from the enemy. Leonki is going to find Kechik Imba. Doesn't have a Basher, but he's doing so much damage. Brewmaster forced now to split. Leonki is going to just man-fight this Brewmaster with the 1400 crit. Yeah, that'll pretty much do it. He also has that blur taking away, so Brewmaster can't actually stand and fight. 100% defensively used that split. In the meantime, it's going to be FC to get focused down by Babo and Fitlion. They're going to take out the Broodmother. In the meantime, Storm Spirit's also, Scout is also going to take out the Ogre Magi. Yomu going to pick a fight with Ghost. That won't lead into anything, but it's still 2 kills for Kingdom, plus forcing out an ultimate from the Brewmaster. Things that they have spent, pretty much nothing.
Yeah, they pretty much don't use any big cooldowns for that. Stampede was used earlier, but that was 40 seconds ago. That's going to be up very shortly. Buyback already forced out by the Ogre, and that's the only one they have to spend. Right now, it's just going to be a pure 4v4, and without the split available for Invasion, this should be a pretty easy high ground push for Kingdom, especially if they get the jump. They will pull back ADR. Defensive swap's going to keep him alive for now, but if the Ogre dies, he's down for good. They'll blow up the Vengeful Spirit with a handful of crits. There's a decent Ice Path. Echo Slam comes through. They'll destroy Ghost. Vengeful Spirit buying back into this game as Phantom Assassin goes to town onto the Brewmaster. Won't be able to do enough damage, and now the buybacks are going to force her out. In the Ice Path, the Phantom Assassin isn't looking too healthy, but has the Aegis. The Satanic's already been used, but it doesn't matter. The damage is immense, and now they will start focusing onto the Jakiro. They decide instead that Kechik Imba is the tastier target, and they'll crit him down with 1100 crit. Buyback on the Brewmaster. Invasion are just throwing bodies at the enemy team.
And they're going to need like 4 or 5 more bodies, because Ghost is going to get hexed up, and he's going to be brought down. Lee Honki's still surviving because of his Satanic, still has an Aegis, although I don't even know if he's going to get value off it this game. Invasion buyback with everything that they have, yet it's still not enough. They don't get a single kill out of this, and they're going to lose 2 Raxes probably. They have 70 seconds until the Jakiro is back up. Aegis is reclaimed by PA, so she's going to get a full heal. That's mid lane Raxes taken. They're going to jump into FC. He's not going to have any time to do anything with his BKB, and he's going to be taking a fall. That's GG.
Yeah, not much else that they can do this game. Invasion, they had a window, and they just weren't able to hit it. There's going to be a last-minute split coming up for the Brewmaster before the Ancient explodes, but there it goes. And it is going to be a pretty clean Game 1 victory for Kingdom. This is a best of 2, so let's see if Invasion are able to tie things up 1-1, but for now, Kingdom are looking strong.
Kingdom, for sure, doing a pretty good job in that game, holding out against the pushing from Invasion, then just long enough, although, you know, getting a couple thousand gold off of Broodmother seems pretty good as well. We'll see if Invasion can pull it back in game number 2. Here on HeflaTV 2, guys, we're going to be bringing you that game as well, so don't go anywhere. Game number 2 is coming up very shortly.